obviously just stoked after the championship game, the way that thing went. I know we talked a little bit afterwards, but it's been a fun ride. Didn't slow down coming out of that game, straight into recruiting weekend, now into bowl prep. It's been a mad dash. So the good thing about an early bowl game is it's an early bowl game. The bad thing about an early bowl game is it's an early bowl game. So there's not a lot of spare time at this point. Guys are excited. I've had a really good week to kind of just take care of their bodies coming off the championship and physical football game. Excitement level is extremely high. Fired up about going to LA. Fired up about playing Oregon State, but also very aware of the challenge that presents. We'll be on the field today to practice, travel day tomorrow, and then really kind of treat it like a normal game week, if that makes sense, with the game being on Saturday and having the entire week last week really been dedicated to healing their bodies up and recruiting. So we'll get a normal game week in this week and try to be our very best on Saturday to finish this thing off with a win against what I think is a really, really good football team. They are built well. It's going to be as good a team as we've seen all year, comparable to me to Washington State, BYU, Boise, San Diego State. Just physically, a body type. We've won some of those. We've lost a couple of those. We're going to have to play our best and present some challenges to our defense a little differently than what they've seen. These guys are really, really good at spreading the ball out and throwing it. One of the best backs in the country. And just for our offense, the size matchups, as we've talked about at some point during the season, will be things that we really have to use speed and quickness to overcome. Love to see our guys finish off with this one. It would be an unbelievable legacy to leave behind for this senior class and really just this team in general, considering last year and just all that happened. I know we've documented and talked about that a good bit. To be able to really just kind of get back on track and overcome the odds all season long, all the way even into and through the championship game, this would be no different. But 11-3 with the conference title, with 2 Power 5 wins in this particular season, considering all the things that carried into it, would be unbelievable. And I'd love that for our guys. Win or lose, they've done a phenomenal job of setting us on a great path for the future. And really, the first Mountain West Conference championship, all the things that come with that. This game only just adds icing to the cake. Nothing's going to tarnish their legacy that they have left. But I want it for them, and I can feel the energy in the building. They want it as well. And we're going to go try to play our best ball on Saturday. And I think that may be the coolest thing about how the season's progressed. We needed to play that last Saturday at San Diego, and we did. And this would be a great just kind of grow from that, carry the momentum from that, and go out and play even better. And I think it's going to take that kind of effort to get a win.
Hey, Coach Ajay Salveson. Doug Hoffman put out a really cool tweet about how great this receiving core has been in regards of the Utah State football history and what they've been able to do. For you, how good has this receiving core been? Is it the best you've ever seen in regards of your coaching career?
Wow, those are big shoes to fill. They definitely are in that conversation. We've had some really good seasons throwing the ball in the past. Numbers have been high, but it's hard to argue with the big plays when needed in big moments. And the fact that collectively across the board, everybody got involved. So they're absolutely one of the best we've ever had. Each group is different. I'm not one of those guys ranking them in order kind of guys. They're just, this has been a phenomenal group. And we lifted the trophy due to a lot of heavy lifting on those guys' part.
Coach Al from the KBNU and Logan, congratulations on the championship. And what did that do? I know you can't talk specifics about recruiting, but what did that do to the recruiting season for you to win a championship? Did that help you at all in talking to people?
Oh, absolutely.
What was their reaction?
Nothing but positive. I mean, excited kids that were committed, super fired up kids that we were in play with and really recruiting already. I think it maybe pushes some of those guys over the edge. We've had some really good news in the last few days in recruiting. Guys that were committed, stayed, on campus this weekend, all left with a ton of energy. We're battling on some veteran transfer type guys, some kind of free agent guys that would help plug in some areas where we're losing some seniors and some really good players. So, yeah, winning helps everybody, and winning a championship takes it to another level. It is not. It doesn't make the final decision for anybody, but it definitely moves people in a positive direction, and it shows people that we can be competitive, and they're going to be competitive every year, and that you can win championship here. You don't have to go somewhere else to get that done. So I think we were doing everything we can to really build the roster, and recruiting is where that gets done. And the more momentum we have going in recruiting, the better off we are.
Coach, you mentioned that you want to approach it just like any other game week, but obviously it that's kind of impossible given the circumstances surrounding the week leading up to it. How do you find the balance this week of letting the kids enjoy the moment that they've earned, getting to this point, while also being zeroed in and focused on tackling the opponent?
Yeah, that's a big challenge. I think everybody faces it every year. You want to soak up every ounce of fun that you can. They've earned it. This is a celebration of the season. In my mind, I know some people don't necessarily agree with that philosophy, but these guys have worked hard, earned the right to be at a bowl game. It's built the way it's built for them to enjoy it. The Jimmy Kimmel Show, Maui Gyms, In-N-Out Burger, Universal Studios. There's a ton of cool things for them to enjoy. And so I take the approach, and I believe this wholeheartedly. The team that really wants to be there, really wants to be competitive on game day will. We all know when kickoff is, and we know that it's our responsibility, each man, staff, and player, to be ready. Enjoy the opportunities that the bowl presents and have a blast. But when it's time to lock in and go to meetings, time to lock in and go to practice, time to lock in and be prepared for games, it's our responsibility to do that. And so I'll continue to remind them. We'll set a schedule we think that is reasonable this week so that we get our sleep, get our rest, but still have a great time. But ultimately, if our team really wants to win this game badly enough, then we'll go out and play with an effort level and energy level that creates an opportunity for us to do that. If they're satisfied at this point, then it won't happen, and it won't matter what I say or do. It's going to come from them. I made that really clear to them yesterday. I believe that, and I think you see that all across college football bowl games. Some teams look really inspired and excited to be there. Some teams look like they've checked out. I expect our guys will show up and play lights out. That's what I expect of them. That's the energy we have in the building. But it is a difficult task for every head coach and every staff and every team to juggle both. Hopefully we're mature enough to do so.
Coach Al, again, I'm not a social media guy like these other guys on the field here, but I haven't read as much. We always know this time of the year, we have to ask most coaches if anybody's opting out of bowl games or not wanting to play on your team. Is that a problem at all on your team?
It's not. I mean, we're going to have, like any team at this point, we're going to have a few guys that may enter the transfer portal. They're looking to play a little bit more than they are here. But in terms of guys opting out, these guys are excited about the play, the game. And I've had zero conversation with anybody saying, Coach, I'm opting out. I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Everybody's excited about going, ready to play. So if it happens, it'll be news to me. It has not happened at this point. The only, couple guys that'll miss either injury or a couple of family conflicts that just are unavoidable. And like I said, we may have a guy or two that are ready to move to the portal and start looking for another home that are trying to play a little bit more than maybe they're going to get to here. And one or two of those guys may choose to miss this game. But that's the landscape we're in at this point in college ball.
Coach Anderson, Jason Turner from the Herald Journal. After 13 games, how would you assess how healthy do you feel your team is after 13 games compared to some other seasons you've been a part of?
Well, compared to some other seasons, we're really healthy. Now we're bumps and bruises like you would expect this deep into the season. And last week's game was extremely physical, so that's part of it. But we really avoided the large number of season-ending injuries. I've had a season where we had 19, and we found a way to win 8 games. Still don't know how. We were duct taped together, and guys moving positions all over the place. We stayed away from that with how we prepared, and I think how we practiced. And we were really fortunate as well. And we're pretty healthy going to this. We'll have the same team we had last week. playing against San Diego State for the most part. We didn't lose anybody, and we have a chance maybe for a couple guys to feel a little bit better. So I would tell you we're in as good a shape as you can expect to be this late in a long, really very physical football season.
Coach, you've probably been asked a lot of questions about this over the last couple of weeks, but talk about the road success you guys have found this season. You guys have been a historically good team on the road, and obviously you'll probably hope to continue that. Again, I guess it's more of a neutral site, but still technically away from home. So talk about that and how you guys did that this season.
I think it comes from really preparing them well, obviously, on the front end. Staff did a good job. Went in with plans that kids understood where they could be free and play. Coach Jackson and strength staff had us in great shape, so we were able to play hard and fast deep into the game. But I think a lot of it is just the maturity and the leadership inside the locker room with a group of guys that there was a level of confidence that we gained early and built on all season long. A lot of those were last-second victories. Several, obviously, we played lights out and stretched things out, but a lot of them came down the wire in a group of guys that just would continue to fight and play all the way through regardless of the circumstances. And every team is different. When you can have a really good team if the coaches lead them, you're going to have a great team if the players lead. And I felt like we had some guys that really built a culture of accountability and discipline in that locker room, which is right in line with our core beliefs and core values of being selfless, tough, and accountable. And that's what you saw. And I think it's what allows you to be really good on the road in tough environments.
Coach, what's the best thing about Oregon State? What do you think about Oregon State's best thing?
They're your typical Power 5 football team. Long, rangy. They got speed. Their offensive line is phenomenal. I don't know exactly what the award is that they're up for, but their O-line is up for a collective award as one of the best groups in the country. I think it's absolutely, they definitely deserve that kind of recognition. I think the quarterback is super poised. He's one of those guys that will sit in the pocket to the last second. And then, if I'm not mistaken, they got a first-team all-conference running back. So there's a lot of things. Defensively, they've had some trouble, but have settled in the last few weeks. And the thing that shows up to me over there is length, and they play really hair on fire. They are flying to the ball. Whatever changes they made over there, the environment changed. You can see them chasing the ball, and it shows up on special teams. Most of those guys are defense players. So we're going to have to match that intensity level. Length of speed is going to be an issue because we're not real long. But that intensity level that you see, it shows up on film. It shows up visibly on film. So there's a couple of challenges, and those are the areas I think really that they're at their best.
They have a really good linebacker tandem in Roberts and Spates. You guys have faced some good linebackers this year, though. Muma, some other guys. How well do you feel like you're prepared for a tandem like that, considering some of the guys you've squared off against this year?
Well, we've seen some good ones, and at times we've played good, and at times we've played bad. So it kind of depends on the week. For us, in a short week with all the chaos coming out of the championship game, if we'll just do what we're supposed to do, then you have a chance to maybe minimize those guys' effectiveness. If we go in there and again, we're not focused on the details of what we're supposed to do, and we don't go out and play with the intensity level that we need to, those guys are going to make play after play after play. They're obviously built for it, and they've done it all season. So it starts and ends up front, regardless of what all the other football looks like on both sides. Our offensive and defensive lines are going to have to play great for us to be in this game. And it would not surprise me if it's just like it was when we played Washington State. It's going to be one of those that some of the matchups are going to look ugly early. Those linebackers are going to be flying and chasing early. I'm hoping that we can fatigue them, get to the second and third levels, play, and hopefully things will start looking better for us as the game continues. And so we have to try to slow those guys down. You don't stop them. They're good at what they do.
I know you were asking the bowl press conference, but can you talk a little bit about Calvin Tyler against them? And has he been able to help you guys at all with stuff that they do?
If he's helped us in the meeting room, I'm not aware of it. He's been focused on just getting better. I think he looks forward to the opportunity. He's got a lot of friends there, and maybe there's a chip on his shoulder to prove to those guys that they should have utilized him more when he